Hey and welcome to Hank's True Barbecue. I just bought the new FireBoard 2, so we're gonna do a comparison between the old FireBoard and the new FireBoard. So what are the differences really? Well, software-wise not so much, but hardware-wise quite a bit. So let's take a closer look at these two. So looking at the size, they're roughly the same, and that's good, I guess. Not much to say about that. This is the old one, and not only the old one, but also the weatherproof case around it. And you can see here the rubber thing is to prevent moisture from entering where the probes come out. And the old one has 6 probes, which I really like. I think that's one of the reasons I did buy it, because I want to monitor multiple meats at once. The new one also has 6 probes, and that's good because I really like it. One difference, of course, is the charger. In this case, it's a USB-C, which is the latest standard. Too many standards to choose from, but that's good. Here's a, I think it's micro HDMI or mini HDMI, I can't remember, but that's the old one. Either way, you get a charger with it. But USB-C is more of a standard now, so I guess that's a good upgrade. The big difference is that this is weatherproof out of the box. You don't need to buy the separate casing for the old one, like you did for the old one, so that's really nice. And of course the major difference is the display size. If you look at these, I mean, this one does get the job done, but it's tiny, and it's really hard to read if there's any sunshine out, so I'm not a big fan of this. On the other hand, this is a cloud connected thermometer, so you typically monitor temps in your smartphone. Now, one of the main reasons I did buy a FireBoard to begin with is cloud connectivity. I really think it's just awesome to be able to have this one hook up to my local Wi-Fi, regardless of where I am, and I'm able to monitor cooks from anywhere. And the second big thing is that this is not only a thermometer, but with the existing one, you could buy an extra drive cable, and the drive cable plugs in to the auxiliary port here on the side. And when you plug it in, that means this one can run any fan. So all of a sudden you have not only a thermometer, but also a controller. So connect any fan to this, set the desired target temp, and it will monitor temps for you. And if needed, it will start the fan, rev it up, and start producing more heat. So it can adjust to control the grill temp for you. That's yet another reason to be able to monitor it from afar by using the cloud connectivity. You can also log on to your FireBoard dashboard on the web and monitor it from your computer or laptop, for example. Super convenient. One thing I didn't like is that I had to purchase this cable separately. Now, with the FireBoard 2 drive, which is this version, this cable is built into the device. That's really good. So the FireBoard 2 comes in 3 flavors. You have the basic FireBoard 2, you have the FireBoard drive, which is this one, and then you have the FireBoard 2 Pro. And the added difference between the drive and the Pro version is that the Pro version supports K-type thermocouples. If you don't know what that is, that's a Pro level, I would say, thermometer probe that supports or can withstand higher temperatures and is a bit more rugged. I didn't have the need for it, so I went with the FireBoard 2 drive, because basically I want the thermometer and I want the drive cable built in. So now when I plug in my fan, I use a Pit Viper fan, which I'm really happy with, but you can use any. You just plug it into the 2.5mm plug right here. Super convenient. So let's check how fast it boots, because I think it's not an issue, but this one took like forever to get started. So I'll push on or start on both of them and we'll see how fast they boot up. Also, we're going to take a look at this Gloria screen, because it's really nice, and I like the way that you can configure it for different modes. Alright, so let's press the power buttons here simultaneously. And we'll wait and see. Now you can see the screen is much better. And there we are, up and running. This one is way faster. Still waiting for the old one. There you get the splash screen. Still waiting. And there you go. So quite a big difference in boot time. Right, so let's plug in the ambient probe and the meat probe so you can see what happens on the screen. Now this one has different modes, and I can switch modes by pressing the top button here. There are 3 different buttons on the side. Now you can see the thermometer chart here and the number 1 probe plugged in, and then you have the other ones up here, so there's a full list. But if I switch, now I can see all 6 of them, just the numbers but no chart. Or I can switch to a large font reading mode, which is good if you set this one up and want to glance at it from a few yards out. Really convenient to be able to switch. Or I can go to a single channel mode, which is this one. I like having the other thermometer probes visible also, but the main temp here, so this is typically how I would use it. Real convenient, good display. I guess someone could argue that how long is this gonna last in a few years from now, but I think it's a really good display, so we'll see. I'll report back within a year when I've used it for quite some time. But I'm really happy with the old one, so I'm sure this won't disappoint. But we'll see. The proof is in the pudding. Overall though, I really like the hardware on this one. There's a kind of rubbery surface here. It feels extremely sturdy and robust. And also now you can see that if I flip it upside down, the display turns. And that's real handy. Compared to this one, this is the external case I had to buy extra. This one has a kickstand back here, so you can rig it like that. It also contains a magnet, so it sticks to metal surfaces. This one does not have a magnet built in. According to FireBoard, they're going to release that as a separate add-on later. I think it would be nice to have a magnet built in like the old external case, but well, I guess you can't get everything. So I did go for the FireBoard 2 drive option, but I guess a common question is, what if you buy the FireBoard 2 without the drive option? Can you still plug it in to run an external fan later? Well, you can still get the drive cable, plug it into the auxiliary port, and that's gonna work. So, I mean, that's fine. If you didn't get the drive option to begin with, it will work afterward by retrofitting this one. On the other hand, this is not cheap, so if you're in doubt, I would advise you to go with the FireBoard 2 drive version. Again, one of the good things about it is that it runs the fan, but not only runs the fan, but it can run the fan off of the built-in battery. That's how I've used the old one for years. I'm really happy with it, and it actually lasts quite a long time. FireBoard states that this is a 30-hour battery range, roughly. I guess it all depends on usage, depending on how hard the fan has to work, etc. What I do for really long cooks is, for this one, I plug in a power bank like you would use for your smartphone or tablet, for example. And that still means I don't need a wall outlet. I can still run this for hours and hours, so I'm safe. I haven't run out of battery yet, but you know, you never know, so it feels better to plug that power bank in. So I'm really looking forward to putting this one through its paces. I'm sure it's gonna hold up just as well as the old one, but I'll report back in a year and we'll see how it goes, because long-term use is the only thing that really matters. So I keep mentioning the drive capability, and I think that's really key to why I like it so much. Not only cloud connectivity, basically I can monitor temps from anywhere, which is super convenient, but also the drive. Now, it's a really interesting feature that both the old one and the new one has, and I said that software-wise it isn't that big of a difference. I don't even know if there is a difference. I couldn't find out, but I guess that's a good thing because the algorithms are the same. So what does that mean? Well, not only can it monitor temps and adjust fan speed up and down, so basically you get an automated controller, but a nice feature with the old and the new one is the drive, or programs it's called. Basically you can configure it to run low and slow, like 225 for 4 hours. Then you can crank it up to 275 and then drop it down again after 8 hours. So it can be a trigger by time and can also be a trigger by temp, for example. Let's say you do a pulled pork overnight, so you want to cook it. In this case, well, how would I do it? I would cook it at like 250 for a few hours, and then overnight I would drop temps to say 200 Fahrenheit. Leave it cruising for 8 hours, and when I wake up more or less, or 6, 7 in the morning, I could up temp again. And I could program FireBoard to do that for me, which is incredibly powerful. Talk about automated grilling, and that's really nice. So that's a real good reason to get the FireBoard. There are other thermometers that have cloud connectivity. I think that's really good. For me it's important because it really helps me know what's happening, but also being able to program it beforehand is super smart. So I mean, I've had this for years. I'm really happy with it. This is the only thermometer I use, so I'm really looking forward to testing this one out. We'll see how it performs, but overall it looks like really solid construction. I like the big screen, etc. So this is going to be a good one, and I like the built-in drive capability. So go check it out if you're interested in any solid thermometer that's going to help you out with your barbecue and grilling needs. If you're looking for a non-cloud connected thermometer, there are quite a few. I can see the point in having that. For example, if you're out in the cabin, you just want to have really good Bluetooth connectivity. Unfortunately for me, Bluetooth has definitely its limitations, to be honest. So I mean, I think this is the #1 thermometer I've been using for years. So go check it out if you're interested. Thanks for watching.